Okay, I'm just gonna knock this baby out. It's day 5, and today was a good day. I got up and I had my oatmeal pancakes. I got up real early, and I had a banana in the house, and I had oatmeal. And I really wanted to have banana pancakes for the past couple days, and I didn't have the ingredients, so today I had it. I had my frozen apple juice for my syrup. It was really good. I just had one big pancake, and I have a non-stick skillet, which I got at Goodwill the other day, and it really works. And I don't have to use any oil. My non-stick skillets, I had to use oil at the end because they were starting to stick. So this is real nice. I could just put the batter on the skillet and no oil needed. So that was really refreshing. And I went down to church after meditation, and we have on the first Sunday of the month, we have a big feed, and it's like a potluck, and I had all my zucchini fritters ready to go, and they were kind of big, so I cut them in quarters, so everybody could take a little bit. And the thing about zucchini fritters at this type of potluck is I almost wanted to put a sign on them to say what they were, because this is a very, I think you would call them unadventurous group. And people took some. I had about half left. And I was so hungry going into church, I just grabbed like a quarter and ate it. And then on the way home, when I was going home, I took a couple. They're kind of good that way. You can just take a little bit. And Gary took the remainder home, which is great, because he hasn't been taking a lot from the garden, so I'm real happy that he did that. And then I went back to his house, and I went around his tomato patch and got the red tomatoes. They were always on the bottom, mostly on the bottom, and I harvested those, because you really have to stay up on these vegetables because they'll go bad, especially tomatoes. And then I went down to my big garden, and I picked cherry tomatoes, and I got another big bag of cherry tomatoes. And that's another situation where if you don't just grab them right when they're coming ripe, they'll go bad. So I got that, and then what else did I get from the garden? I got some kale for my friend, and a little lettuce, which didn't end up making it to her house. And I left the watermelons and the cantaloupes, and I'll be getting them in the next couple days because I figured they could stay there. And I just kind of rooted around the garden and just took an inventory to see what was there so I didn't miss anything, and but didn't really harvest anything. Now I still have this huge kale thing. I think I'm going to have to go to the farmer's market and get rid of it. That's probably the most practical thing. And I'll either do it Wednesday or next Saturday. I think that's my plan, sort of. And then I did a little weeding, a little tidying, and I wanted to water. Gary's not real big on watering. We had a little rain this morning. The pear trees, really, they're new this year, and they really need watering, but I just let it go. So then I came home, and I had some by then I was hungry again, and I had a beet that was cooked, fresh from the garden, in the refrigerator, and then I took some green beans from the garden, and I steamed them up or boiled them up, and then I had some of those cherry tomatoes with basil, and I put them in the oven. And that's one thing, is that it's pretty hot here, and I have the air conditioner on, but I've been doing a lot of cooking, and that's the problem with harvest time. It's hot, but you have to cook. So but it was delicious. I had it last night too, and it was like so good. And then afterwards I had cold cantaloupe for my dessert. But later in the afternoon, I really have had on my mind zucchini brownies. And I had that like somewhere floating around my head, that I had heard about zucchini brownies, and I looked up the recipe, and what I did was I took a King Arthur, which is a baking company, recipe, and I translated it to be starch solution. I didn't use any fat. For the fat substitute, I used a half a banana and some applesauce. And then for the sweetener, I used my Pyure, which is, I think, xylitol. And the applesauce is a little bit sweet. I wish I'd had a lot of dates. I would have put them in there, but I didn't have a lot of dates. And then I had unsweetened baker's chocolate, which I melted, and I had cocoa powder and the grated zucchini and vanilla. I put baking powder in there, and then I have something called it's a little baking xanthan gum. And it's supposed to be good for like when you're not using fat in your baking. It makes it light. I put a little bit of that in there, of course, a little salt, and they turned out great. I cooked them for 20 minutes at 400, and then I had to go out, and I just left them in the oven. And when I got back, they were like perfect, and they were real like that chewy kind of brownie texture, but not real sweet, but chocolatey and chewy, and they're perfect. They're just what I needed, and I had a couple of those, and then I let them cool, and then I put them in plastic wrap later and put them in the freezer. So I have them there, when I want to grab a little brownie, defrosted or thawed out, cook it, heat it a little bit, and got myself a nice little chewy treat. And then after I got home from program, I was all about grating zucchini for making fritters, and I made 2 trays of fritters. Of course, I put them on the Silpat non-stick sheets and baked them in the oven at 400 for half an hour. Actually, they needed another 10 minutes. I did use egg in these once again, and because I don't have enough flaxseed. I have to get more flaxseed at the store. I have to write that down on my shopping list, and they turned out really well. And then I let them cool a little bit, and now they're in the freezer. So I still have 10 huge zucchini to process. And if I process 2 a day, it's another 5 days, or it's probably going to be like another week. But they're just sitting there waiting to be, used. And then later tonight, I just pressed on and I made some zucchini basil leek soup. I cooked the zucchini. The recipe didn't even say to cook the zucchini, but I'm quite sure it has to be cooked because it has to be softened even to blend. If I had one of those, what are they called? Those really heavy duty food blenders, but I don't. I just have a regular blender. So I cooked it down. I used basil, leeks, and lemon, and salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion salt, and little, I called for miso, but I didn't have any miso, so I used a little veggie bouillon, and like a cup and a half of water. And so tomorrow, after it's cooled, I'm going to leave it out tonight, and after it's cooled tomorrow, which it will be, I'll just blend it up and see how it tastes. It's just another way to use zucchini. I'm all about the zucchini right now. And tonight, while I was cooking, I was nibbling on the brownies, nibbling on the fritters all day, and I thought, you really need to eat something. So I steamed up some of my fresh garden broccoli. That's the first broccoli I've had from the garden. It was very good. And I had a veggie burger, like a griller, Morning Star commercial griller, and some commercial shredded hash brown potatoes. Because I really felt like I needed like something substantial to eat. And then I added like some of my homemade pickles and ketchup and mustard. It was really good, but it was balanced. It was nourishing. It was a little bit of ballast. So I stopped snacking, which is good. And then I finished it up with some ice cold watermelon from the refrigerator. And my friends I've been sharing the vegetables with, I've been getting rave reviews, a lot of gratitude, and it's just nice to be able to share it with people. It's like, a little gift you can give people, and it's no skin off my teeth because I got more than enough. And like these cherry tomatoes, you can't preserve them really. So, they have to be shared or eaten, which I can't eat that many. And so that's it for today. No exercise because I went to church. It took me about 4 hours to go to church, from the beginning to the end. So that's kind of my exercise time, and so that's okay. I was in the garden, working out, sort of. So that's it for day 5. It was a good day, summertime and the living is easy. I'm really enjoying this gardening and eating really super fresh food. I always wanted to do that, like, pick it and eat it. And that's what I'm doing. Okay, that's my wrap up, August 2022.